Welcome everyone. This is Virginia Parsons, your Hangout mentor and the host of the Inspirational Business Women show, where it is my passion and my purpose to provide you, the entrepreneur, with a gold mine of entrepreneurial tips, strategies, and advice to help grow your business from inspirational business women in the know. And I'm so pleased you're here today. Thank you for taking some time, because I know your time is valuable. And hanging out with us, I think you're going to find it's well worth it. You know, it is my passion to give you tips that are actionable, things that you can go out and apply in your business and in your life to feel better in every way. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this show with you today. So I'd love to hear where you're hanging out from. So let us know that. Put that in the comments section, please. And thank you again for being here. Now, we will have an after show, and I'm hoping as many of you as possible can join us for that. So at the end of the broadcast, I will be posting a link to join us inside the Hangout, where you can ask questions of our guest and just come in and say hi. I would love that. You know, it is my intention to really form a whole collaborative of entrepreneurs who can share their passions with one another and, you know, potentially work with each other. So you might also want to put down in the comments, what is your passion? What is it that you're doing in life? So we can all learn more about you. So thanks for being here. Today's show is sponsored by hangout-marketing.com, where you can receive a free Hangout marketing assessment that's going to measure your knowledge base and your skill set in using Hangouts on Air to brand, grow, and market your business. So all you need to do to take advantage of that is text the word success, SUCCESS. Text that to area code 307-269-2040. And you'll have an opportunity to take that assessment. It'll only take you a couple minutes, and you might even qualify for a free strategy session with me, where we're going to sit down and get into the nitty-gritty of your business and really how you can use Hangouts on Air to brand, grow, and market your business. So take advantage of that, won't you? All right, I'm really excited to introduce our guest today. Our guest is Elizabeth Verge. Now, Elizabeth Verge is a certified brain trainer. She's been doing this for over 8 years, and she is the CEO of Brain Possibilites. And you know what was really interesting is that Elizabeth was an entrepreneur of another sort, and she's past president of the Women's Entrepreneur Association of Canada, and so she really understands the entrepreneurial mindset, and it's going to be interesting to see how she has taken this into brain training. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to discuss, you know, what is brain optimization technology. It's all new to me, but I think you're going to find it fascinating. We're also going to talk about how you can use brain training as a solution for things like work stress, you know, depression, and even addiction. So I think you're going to find her experience is very valuable for perhaps you and your work stress, or perhaps a loved one. And finally, she's going to give you some techniques, some tips and strategies so you can really optimize your own brain's health. So we've got a lot going on today, and I want to go ahead and welcome Elizabeth to the show. Come on in, Elizabeth, and say hi to our audience.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on the show, and I look forward to spending some time with everyone today.
Well, we're thrilled to have you, Elizabeth. I think that this is a fascinating topic, and I do believe that every one of us would like to learn how to use our brains more effectively and efficiently, both in our lives and in our business. So I'm very excited to have you share what you've learned about this technology and how that can help everyone here. So let's start with your background. People, I'm sure, are fascinated by, what it is that got you, drawn to brain optimization technology. So go ahead and give people a little bit background.
Well, I come from a large family of 6, a good French-Canadian family, and I suffered throughout my whole childhood and life from depression. And one of my sisters, whom we call the granola, who was out west and tried everything alternative, one day told me, you can train your brain and release trauma at a subconscious level and not have to relive it. So I'm like, what? I have to know more about that. So I looked into it, and I was in the middle of a severe depression on medication, and I checked it out. There was only one person doing this work, and she was in Vancouver Island where my sister was. So I went and spent a week with her, and over that week I did 10 sessions, and during those 10 sessions my depression lifted as if a veil got removed from me, and it just took me out of this depression prison, and I haven't been depressed since, and it's been 8 years. So I definitely was convinced that this technology, neurofeedback, was really a great technology to help many, many people. And then I further got into it and then decided to become a provider. And here I am, 8 years later. So happy to be helping people.
Well, we're happy for your granola-eating sister.
Yes.
For introducing you to it, because you had been on antidepressants of some sort for a number of years. Is that right?
Oh, antidepressants, on and off, psychologists, psychiatrists, you name it. Nothing worked for me, and I was not getting the joie de vivre that I was so looking forward to. And then 8 years ago, it arrived, and it was my granola sister that put me on the track.
Well, so in the process, you did 10 sessions, you said, and it totally transformed the way you felt. Now, during that time, were you still taking antidepressants?
I had decided, without telling my doctor, that I was going to get off of them, so I weaned myself, and I don't recommend to do that without your doctor's consent, but I did it, and I never looked back. It just was a great success for myself and many of my clients who suffer from depression.
I just think that's wonderful to hear that you were able to let go of your medication. As you say, obviously you want to do this with your doctor's guidance, but so many people aren't even aware that they would have an option like this as opposed to perhaps medication. So I think this is exciting. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of what is brain optimization training.
So brain optimization, the one that I use right now is called Neuroptimal. And Neuroptimal helps, it monitors your brain waves, and it alerts your central nervous system when it's not functioning smoothly. So we all have turbulence in our brain, and turbulence is good because we need some to a certain degree, because if you're in the middle of a nice stroll and you're enjoying your day, you're walking along with friends, and all of a sudden you hear a loud noise. Well, your brain needs that turbulence to react quickly to see if it's a danger or not. And that's what's going to decide, the brain's going to decide whether it's going into fight or flight. So that turbulence is really good, but sometimes we've got way too much turbulence. Usually it comes from having trauma. When we have trauma, it creates turbulence in our brain. And when we do have a lot of trauma, we end up having lack of focus, lack of concentration. We have poor sleep. We have anxiety. We have depression. And all these things add up. And then we try to get out of it with stimulants, drugs or alcohol or medication. Some will try relaxation, meditation, yoga, and that works. It works in it as long as they keep at it. But with neural feedback, it helps it's done by sitting in an anti-gravity chair. You have sensors on your head, and you're listening to music. While this is happening, the computerized program is capturing the information from your brain through the sensors, and it sees when there's a lot of turbulence, it will stop the music for the brain, and then the brain wants more music. So what it'll do is it'll find a place where it's less turbulent, calm down, and then the music will start again. All of this is done in a really short span. It's not like 5 minutes you're waiting for the music to start again. It's all done very quickly. It's like a little click. And the only thing you need to do, your job, is to sit in the chair, enjoy the music, have your eyes open, your eyes closed. You can watch images on a computer, and you can do visualizations, or you can simply fall asleep, because it will continue to work. It's your central nervous system that is in charge, that is doing the work. Yeah.
How fascinating. Yeah, let's pause for a moment and review. So what this does, so this is a computer-based technology, is that correct?
Correct. Neurofeedback is about 60, 70 years old. So it's science-based, and it's been, throughout the years, it's been looked at as a little bit on the fringe, but now it's becoming really into the forefront, and it's being used more and more to regulate and self-regulate the central nervous system so that you're more balanced and harmonized.
Okay, so I know I've heard of neurofeedback, but it sounds like you're adding some stimulus with the music to be conditioning the brain. So this is what you mean by training the brain, that the music is part of the signal that when the brain calms down and isn't in that state of turbulence, you get the music back. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. Basically, that when the program is listening to the turbulence in the brain, and when there's too much, it stops. And then the brain starts looking for a place where it's calmer. It calms itself down, and then the music comes back. So for the brain, it's the way to look at itself and see where something is wrong and to balance it.
Oh, I love this. I can really see what the potential is for particularly helping people with traumas that are still, buried in the subconscious that keep coming up in different ways. I'm thinking of this also as just a great way to help you maintain your focus, because sometimes we can get overstimulated just trying to do too many things. I know that in my own life, how many hats do I try to wear at once?
Correct.
And as a result, you start to feel scattered, or what we call overwhelm, or maybe we're multitasking too much, all of those things that I would think could also contribute to brain turbulence, that if you applied this technology would help you much more quickly get back into that focused state. Am I understanding you right there?
That is exactly it. So when we have these little devils on our shoulders yapping away, blah, 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 go this, do that, do this, do that, all of that chatter takes away our focus and our concentration. So what the brain training does is it quiets the areas where you can finally sit back and do one task at a time, because that's pretty much what we can do. And then you're more apt to be more focused and concentrated on one task and do better on that one task than try to do everything all at once. So for children and adults who have ADHD, for example, that is a great tool to help them create calmness in their brain and not have so much chatter in their brain. So and then learning techniques to help yourself quiet things down. So for example, I tend to be a little ADHD. So when I'm in the middle of wanting to do 10 things at a time, I'll write them down on a piece of paper, park it, finish what I'm doing. And that way, this brain training has allowed me to do that. I'm able to say, no, I'm going to finish this, park it for now, and then continue my work. And then when this is done, then I move on to the next. So this neurofeedback helps you to be more organized, more focused, more concentrated.
Terrific. So I'm got some more questions for you, but I want to take a moment and just acknowledge some of our viewers and say hi to them that are here. I want to say hi to Sherry Connell and Jane Gardner. Welcome. Let's see who else we've got here. We've got Ron Harvey. How are you, Ron? And Lynn Sanders, great to see you here, Lynn, hanging out from Winnetka. Susan Joy Schlief, who is hanging out listening, she says, from Chicago. Jeremy Murphy, coming here from Lincoln, Nebraska. Good to see you here, Jeremy. And Denise Zonka from Arizona. And I'm going to post this for you, and you can respond to this of Denise's. And that is, Elizabeth, what about the spiritual involvement in this process?
The spiritual involvement is all part of it, because when let's say you were to meditate for 30 years, you're meditating to quiet your mind so that you can introspect more and more and more. Well, when you're balancing your brain, you're doing the same thing, but it's just a little faster. So the spiritual side is as important as the emotional, the physical, and the mental. They are all taken care of.
Wonderful. So let's talk about some of these solutions and examples that you might provide as far as using brain optimization training for work stress, depression, anxiety, ADHD, any of those other experiences that you really had a lot of experience with.
I sure have. Because I've had depression, I get fellow travelers, if you want. People who have suffered from depression find me, and I'm able to help them quiet their brain and maybe give them a chance to get off their medication or part of it, again with their doctor's advice. And these people are literally finding that life is worth living. And I had a woman who worked with mentally ill people, which was really hard to be depressed and working with mentally ill people at the same time. And she was really struggling. And she called me one day and she says, you know what? I was sitting in my garden, and for the first time, I could actually say, I'm happy. I'm happy. And I'm like, I was so touched by those 3 words, I am happy, and I feel it. And there's a connection. She was feeling it. I've also had a family member who was doing a lot of drugs and smoking a lot of pot every week, and also suffered from depression. So it was a double whammy for that person. So I said, come spend some time in the chair and we'll get you going. Well, to this day, he's not smoking. His depression has lifted as well, and he's leading a really good life, and he's working, and he's really happy. So it's close to me. It's in my family. I'm really pleased for it. And I have children also that come to me, because some children have a lot of anxiety, and the anxiety is really hard in class because they can't deal with it. They're too young. They don't understand it. So I've had this little fella. He was 8 years old, and he had tremendous rage. And his mom didn't know what to do. She didn't want to put him on medication. She tried yoga. She tried meditation. It wasn't working. So she brought him to me. Excuse me. And we did some brain training on him. And the mother called me about a month later, and she said, "I got to tell you, when my son plays with my daughter and something happens between the two, he usually goes into a fit of rage if she did something that he didn't like. And I watched them play today, and she kicked him as they were playing together. She kicked him in the head, and instead of going into a full rage, he started laughing hysterically."
Mm.
And again, the mother was like so happy to get her son back. And I have some that started with me when they were 8 or 10 years old, and now they're in their teens, and they tell their mother, "I need to go do a session with Elizabeth." They know now enough about their brain and about how they are and how they feel. They know to tell their parents to come and see me for a session or two. And parents are like, wow, because they're coming to me and they know they're kids, and they know their brain is not balanced, and they know this works.
I think it's really fascinating because for a parent, the last thing you want to do is put your kids on some kind of drug.
Yeah.
You know, ADD, ADHD, some of those drugs that are out there are, I would think the last resort. So this seems to be so non-invasive. And so how about the time frame when you start working with someone? On average, how many sessions do you apply to them at first? How far apart are they? How long do they last? Tell everyone about some of those details.
Sure. A session lasts 35 minutes. So again, you're in an anti-gravity chair, you have sensors on your head, and you're listening to music with earbuds. Then I leave you, you're in your own space. You can visualize, you can watch the screen, you can close your eyes, you can do breathing exercises, you can just fall asleep. 35 minutes later, your session is done. And it's all your central nervous system that did the work, along with the computer program. So usually it's 2 to 3 sessions per week, and we like people to start with 10 to 12 sessions just to give your brain that neuroplasticity, where it's the elastic can bounce back when you pull it. And that's what happens is the brain remembers where you left, and it remembers, yes, this is where I need to be for me to be balanced and harmonized. So the more sessions you do, the more your brain knows what it needs to do to be balanced. So when you do 10, 12 sessions, you have enough to show a really good change in your life, in mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And then people who continue, it's because they had a lot of trauma in their life, and the more trauma, the younger the trauma, the younger you were, it takes a little longer to work through all of it. And when I say work through it, you don't have to relive it. You don't have to do any of that. You just sit in a chair, visualize, close your eyes, open your eyes, whatever you feel like. And once you do that, 10, 12 sessions, it gives you a really good start, especially if you need focus, concentration, you sleep better, anxiety usually comes down, depression comes down, everything is easier. You got more discernment, choosing your battles. When you go to work and you have a boss that's pretty tough to deal with. I have a friend who did some sessions because she's really struggling with her boss, her micromanaged boss.
Mm-hmm.
So she did sessions with me, and now she can deal with the stress, and she can distance herself from it and not get sucked into the craziness. So she's much happier, and it's 10 sessions she did.
Well, it sounds as though the brain is really moving to a state of what I call homeostasis or balance from that being overstimulated, which,
Correct.
when you're overstimulated, you talked about the fight or flight. I mean, that's when all the, the adrenals kick in and you end up with all this excess things like epinephrine, norepinephrine, adrenaline circulating through your body. So if your brain can become calmer and more balanced, I think that there's a shift that's going to take place in the hormones as well. And I'd expect you to have a little more dopamine floating around in there, the feel-good hormones. So
Yeah.
it sounds like a wonderful process, especially when the client themselves really don't have to relive a traumatic experience or try and do a lot of work. But again, the technology is training the brain to move to that more relaxed, balanced state. I'm very fascinated by this. Thank you for sharing it. Let me take a moment and bring up Lynn Sanders' comment. Yes, the spiritual aspect is just as important as the mental, emotional, and physical. Everything starts from the inside out. Boy, that's certainly what you're talking about even with the brain training. That's why it's important to focus on what we do want to attract into our lives. And the only problem with focusing on what we do want, which I totally support, Lynn, by the way, is that if you've got some of this unfinished business going on in the background, that is those little voices tapping you on the shoulder, giving you the doubt and lack of confidence that you might have otherwise, it seems as though this brain training could be a great adjunct to focusing on what you want.
Yes, and the brain training is like a stepping stone to choose what you want to be for in reality, and it helps you go forward in life more calmly, and then you make better decisions. And as you make better decisions, life is better. So it's just amazing how much you can accomplish when you're balanced and you're harmonized.
I get it, totally. Well, so now we'll let people know where they can get more information on brain training in just a moment. But we've got that third topic, which I think is important, and that is what we can do, even without this technology, to balance and nourish our brain. You have some tips for us there?
Yes, I do. I'm looking at 4 areas in our life that we all need to look at. And it's nothing new to anybody. I'm just reminding people what we need to do. We need to sleep well. I have cheat sheets, by the way. I got my cheat sheets. We need to sleep well. We need to eat well. We need to exercise, and we need to supplement. Right? So these are 4 areas that we all need to do better, especially with sleep. It seems that sleep is a big, big issue for a lot of people. And to have a good 7-hour sleep when your brain is filled with turbulence, it's kind of hard. So when you calm the turbulence, you calm yourself, you go to sleep, and you get a good night's sleep. So sleep is sleep. I can't say enough about sleep. Sleep will regenerate. Sleep is life.
So sleep is also something that you could say if someone's struggling with insomnia, having treatments like this is probably also going to enhance their sleep and the quality of their sleep. Is that right?
Absolutely. I had a client who hadn't slept for 20 years.
Oh.
20 years. And she did 10 sessions, and she sleeps like a baby to this day.
Ah, that sounds like heaven.
So, I know.
A good night's sleep is like heaven to me, so I'm interested in that. Okay, yeah. So what about some of the supplement tips?
Well, the supplements, there's certainly good vitamins for the brain. So B6, B12, and folic acid are the 3 together help prevent shrinkage and improve memory and focus. So those are really good to have. A good omega-3 vitamin is always good. You can have it in fish such as trout, salmon, mackerel, herring. Nuts and seeds also have good omega-3s. And vitamin E found in avocado and dark leafy veggies helps with cognitive function. So helping improve your brain power, and by the same token warding off diseases like Alzheimer's. So
wonderful.
Those are very important.
And then as far as exercise is concerned, did they talk about a desirable type of exercise, or is just any movement really considered important?
Right now, I'm reading a book by Norman Deutsch, and he's a neurologist, and he's saying that if you have a brisk walk, 45 minutes a day, for 3 days a week, giving your body a break in between, it's as good as any other exercise. So a brisk walk means you're going to break a sweat and you're going to raise your heart rate a bit. And 45 minutes is doable 3 times a week.
That's easy. Now, I'm sorry. Lynn is asking, what was the fourth one? We said sleep well, eat well, exercise. It was supplements, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Good sleep, good nutrition, exercise, and supplement.
Yay. Okay. Yeah. Lynn, you had them all.
Well done, Lynn.
Yeah. Well, and now let's go. Oh, go ahead. Let's
go into nutrition.
All right.
Eating fresh. Make your own food. We all know that. Try to avoid processed foods, because that's where the worst chemicals are in. So you want to really try and steer clear of processed foods. Then there's the best foods for the brain. You would have blueberries that are really high in antioxidants and good for the brain. Again, you have salmon, which is rich in omega-3 that helps with cognitive function. That's the best you can eat with blueberries. Maybe there's a mix there that we can do. Fresh salmon and blueberry sauce of some sort. That would be a nice meal.
I'll just have the blueberries for dessert.
Okay. Nuts and seeds are also a really good source of vitamin D. And vitamin D helps with cognitive function as well. Other good foods are avocados. Avocados are great. They're good. They're a good fat, and they help with blood pressure, and good blood flow to the brain is always important. So avocados, go for it. They're good. Enjoy.
I love avocado. I love it.
My favorite. And broccoli. Broccoli is my other favorite one. And it has a lot of vitamin K. And vitamin K it improves brain power. So those are good ones. Then you have whole grain beans, and they also help promote good cardiovascular health. And last but not least, dark chocolate.
Yay!
It helps with focus and concentration. So
really? Focus and concentration? I didn't know that. Yeah. You mean anytime my brain starts to feel fuzzy, all I have to do is grab a piece of dark chocolate?
A little piece of dark chocolate, away you go.
I love it. Hey, you guys, did you hear that? It's okay to have a piece of dark chocolate when your brain's feeling a little fuzzy.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love the tips.
Other little tips that I started doing when I knew I was going to do this show with you is using. I'm left-handed, so now I'm trying to use my right hand to do brushing my teeth, putting on my makeup, not always, and doing my hair. And then every time you try to use the opposite hand to do something, you're really stimulating your brain. It's helping it saying, whoa, what's happening here? I got to work hard. And it's really good to do that. And another thing is to really calm yourself is listening to classical music. They say classical music is meant to calm you, and it's if you can just sit down and listen without multitasking, obviously. You just sit down, you listen to your music, and you close your eyes and you breathe in and breathe out. It's an instant anti-anxiety pill.
Oh, that's a great idea. I have always felt that music really affects your mood quickly. As a matter of fact, here's Jeremy's comment. Hey, Jeremy, flip negativity to positivity. Yes, music helps alleviate stress a lot. And he's got the song Sunny Side of the Street.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes. It's true, because if you take some classical music that are really strong and dark, and you just you don't feel it. But when you take something that is uplifting, it uplifts you, and you cannot help but be happy and be content. So music, very good, and deep breathing. Deep breathing, I can't say enough about breathing. Find online how to breathe properly, and if you can do that, even just take a deep breath count for 5, hold it for 3, take a deep and exhale for 5, and do this 4 or 5 times. You will again bring down anxiety to the minimum.
Well, I think that these are so many valuable tips, and I'm just taking a moment and I'm going to post in the comments section where people can go and find out more about this training. But what is it called again, Elizabeth?
It's called Neuroptimal, and you can find the website on zengar.com.
Great. I did just post that for everyone, so if you want to find out, because I know that there are certified brain trainers around the world, correct?
Correct.
So if they can't get to you, again, where are you located?
I'm at brainpossibilities.com in Toronto.
Oh, you're in Toronto. Okay, great. So if someone's near you there, they can certainly contact you directly through Brain Possibilities. But if they are wanting to check this out in another region of the world, they can just go to the Zengar site.
Or correct? They can contact me from my website, and I'd be happy to help them through, help them find the website. They can always ask me questions. I'm always open. I like to connect with people, so by all means, connect with me.
Terrific. Well, there's been so much great information here, and as soon as you hit the dark chocolate concept, all sorts of people are making comments there. So I think we'll have to continue this in the after show, and I want to invite you all. I've posted now the link to the after show so that you can come and join us live and say hi to Elizabeth. She's going to have a few minutes to stay with us, so she'll be happy to answer any direct questions that you might have. And in the meantime, I just want to say thank you so much, Elizabeth, for joining us here today. Do you have any last thoughts to leave with our viewers?
Always think that this is a non-invasive brain boot camp. Think of it as you do a boot camp for your body, you need to do a boot camp for your brain. So it's a great technology, and find someone who does it. Go try it. Try it just once, and you will be hooked.
All right. Sounds wonderful. All right, so I hope you will come ahead and join us in the after show. In the meantime, I want to say thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Elizabeth, for such valuable information. And just to let you know, going on a little spring break for a couple of weeks, so you guys have a wonderful Easter holiday, and I'll see you back on April 20th. In the meantime, have a great day and a great week. This is Virginia Parsons. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Thank you.